Welcome to the JustFlight F28 Professional from Microsoft Flight Simulator, a high fidelity simulation of this classic Dutch regional jet. We are currently parked on stand in an NLM City Hopper liveried F28 Mark 4000, the longest and most produced variant of the F28 family. The aircraft is currently in a turnaround state, with wheel chocks and cones in place, main passenger door open, service door open, cargo doors open, and ground power unit connected. This aircraft in particular also has hush kits fitted to the engine exhausts, and high frequency antennas affixed to the upper fuselage and tail. All of this equipment can be configured via the EFB tablets in the cockpit, which also feature full Navigraph and SimBrief integration, as well as useful flight planning tools such as a map, a notes page, and a top of descent calculator. If, however, you would like to operate the passenger doors manually, we can move into the fully modelled passenger cabin and operate the doors from the forward galley. As we are at an airport with jetway, we can convert the main passenger door into a jetway configuration by lowering the floor panel. The jetway will then automatically connect to the aircraft. From the cabin crew panels in the forward galley, we can turn on the cabin lights, adjust the cabin temperature, play cabin music, and inform the cockpit when these duties are complete. And we know what you're thinking, and the answer is yes, custom music can be imported and played through the cabin speakers. The cabin is modelled in a high density 2+3 configuration with the older style overhead bins which are open to the cabin. Each F28 variant has its own unique cabin model to coincide with the different fuselage lengths and emergency exit configurations. We have modelled each of the 4 F28 passenger variants that went into full production, each with their own model differences and flight models. The base variant of the F28 is the Mark 1000. This has a fuselage length of 27.4 metres and a wingspan of 23.6 metres. It comes included with 10 liveries representing the type's past and present operators from all around the world. The fuselage of the Mark 1000 was then stretched by 2.2 metres to create the Mark 2000. This variant now has a fuselage length of 29.6 metres, but shares the same wing as the Mark 1000. It comes included with 6 liveries. In order to improve short field performance and fuel efficiency, a new enlarged wing was designed and placed on the existing fuselages, creating the final 2 production F28 variants. The main visual difference of the wing, other than its increased size, is the position of the ailerons, which are positioned closer to the wingtip on the shorter wing variants. The Mark 3000 features the shorter 27.4 metre fuselage as the Mark 1000, but with the newly enlarged wing, now has a wingspan of 25.07 metres. It comes included with 4 liveries. Finally, the Mark 4000 features the longer 29.6 metre fuselage of the Mark 2000 and also features the new enlarged wing. It is also the only F28 variant which features 2 overwing emergency exits. It comes included with 12 liveries. Moving back into the aircraft, you find a cockpit that looks quite like nothing else. with bright and colourful annunciators, buttons and switches on all panels, a different world to modern airliners. Essentially every system in the cockpit is fully functional from both the captain's and first officer positions. Systems range from the relatively self-explanatory but quirky anti-icing systems to the more complex electrical and hydraulic systems. Fortunately for the more complex systems, schematic diagrams are drawn on the overhead panel and animated mechanical indicators give a clear indication of the state of each system. The aircraft was fitted with a SEP6 autopilot system with vertical and horizontal modes colour-coded on the glare shield, as well as a completely independent flight director system on the mode selector panel, which allows the flight director bars on the ADI to display different information to the mode engaged by the autopilot. The F28 has no auto throttle or FADEC like you would find in modern airliners. Instead, it uses a top temperature control system which limits the engine's turbine gas temperature depending on the position of the switches. A thrust index system with thrust indicators on the main instrument panel and a throttle detent on the captain's left hand throttle allows for D-rated takeoffs by inputting the values of the thrust index tables as shown on the screen. On the captain's right hand throttle is a manual control for the lift dumpers on the upper surfaces of the wings. However, if armed, the lift dumpers will automatically extend on touchdown or when retarding the throttles to idle in the event of an aborted takeoff. The lift dumpers, along with the tail mounted air brake and powerful wheel brakes, more than make up for the F28's lack of reverse thrust, providing the aircraft with a potential landing distance of less than 1,000 metres depending on the aircraft's weight. For users who would like some modern avionics, you have an option to swap the traditional vertical speed indicator to a TCAS VSI, as well as an option to add the working title GNS 530, allowing the aircraft to follow JBS routes, including the programming of SIDS and stars, should you find yourself operating in areas that are lacking traditional navigation aids. On top of all this, the aircraft also features a high quality sound set which uses authentic sounds recorded from the real aircraft. As you may have gotten the impression of by now, the F28 is not your typical run-of-the-mill aircraft, with many unique quirks that aren't present in more conventional airliners. Which is why we are also supplying our usual in-depth PDF manuals, consisting of over 200 pages of systems operations, a tutorial flight, and expanded checklists, all referenced from the real aircraft manuals, to help guide you along the way. If you wish to just jump into the aircraft and fly, we have implemented Microsoft Flight Simulator interactive checklist support, as well as 3 save state options on the AFB, which will set the aircraft up in a cold and dark, turnaround, or ready for takeoff states. State saving is also possible by checking the option on the AFB, so you can always load into the aircraft in the exact state you left it in. I feel like we've only just scraped the surface of what the F28 Professional has to offer, so if you'd like to see more of the aircraft, stay tuned to our social media channels, as we will be bringing you a full video tutorial series walking you through a complete flight.